of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, I guess I found a bag. It's really on the bag. They want to put in natural gas. Oh. And she's.
Uh-oh.
The well thing, I just couldn't understand. What is the point of this?
You only missed the pledge of allegiance, so you should say to do by yourself.
Yeah. We could build a power plant without having. Control the power plant, so. You want to see how public here. That's what I thought. Well, I said, we came to that logic too, we just got the nexus line right through and the north. And the northwest one, that's it. And I thought one another one, so. Useful. It all comes together, huh? There you go. The free power. Oh, the gas line. They're putting another one in there. It's gonna go right at 50 feet to play with there. So.
Like the same size or smaller?
I
What they put in.
It was big. It comes from a long way too. I heard that, so that's rumors.
Roll call. Vice Chairman. Cheryl.
Here.
Here.
That's the group. Here.
We have a really short agenda only because I think we're only gonna focus on one thing, everything that unfinished business again.
I still have some comments on where some of the stuff is. I let you know where some of this. Want to know where we're at on some of the stuff on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay. All right. On the unfinished business, let me say that.
Okay.
Okay, when we get there. Okay. Make a motion for the resolution.
I second.
All in favor? All opposed?
Make motion to accept the minutes.
All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Get down unfinished business, I'll relay some information that we have where we're at on some of this stuff. The comment.
Yeah, 30 seconds. We're, just so everybody knows, we're working currently with Andrew, your new Texan. And how lay out this it's down the middle part of Rice Cemetery, just so everybody knows, because it's not on any paper that is legible. So we're working with them closely on that, and we're gonna go working with them on all the other cemeteries too. Locate the cemeteries, locate the plot, put their names on them, and then put it into a DWG format or a CAD format, so that it can be kept forever and ever. Second thing, when you're putting the minutes together, just as kind of an FYI, thanks for using my first name. For 5 years from now, there's nobody's gonna know who Dave is. Okay.
What would you like me to put?
Dave, this is fine, and Township engineer,
Okay.
so it's referenced later. That's it, thank you.
Nick, you got anything for us?
Yeah, we're cleaning the ditches out on, Dennison Road.
Yeah, what's up with
Started
that?
that today.
They kind of go all over the place.
Yeah.
They do little stretch and go a different road. come back.
Yeah, they used to a little spot there, so I don't know how far they're going with it, but I believe they're coming to Welch,
Are you, did you say cleaning or,
cleaning
Maybe
out
dig
the
'em.
ditch.
oh, because
They're
they're
digging.
mowing also?
Yeah.
They're mowing too, yes, you're correct, yeah. That's it.
Hey, CO2, here we go.
Okay.
On our.
Oh, hold on, I gotta go back to my comments.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I went to the, this CO2 workshop that they put on, or informational meeting they put on. They didn't have, I don't know if anybody else went here.
We all went.
Here went.
Yep.
You all went.
Yeah, we were there too.
Yeah, it was, they didn't actually put on a demonstrative discussion on anything, they just had tables, so. But it was interesting that they're thinking about putting a natural gas plant in.
I didn't think they were that forthcoming with that though. I mean, you have full teeth for them.
They're shutting the one down in Monroe, the coal-fired one, in 32 is the tentative date at this point, so. And that may change, I don't know.
I think they come to the realization too that solar power isn't the answer. So that's why they're going with the natural gas, consider natural gas.
This is DT.
Yeah,
So who said that about the natural gas at that meeting?
the lady that was here with DPE, I could tell you. Molly
Molly Lumpert.
Lumpert, yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, Lumpert Coy, yeah. LUPERT, That's what they're looking into, they're looking into.
Plant around here?
Well, the logic came this way, we're just checking the geological wells, right? Okay, why? Maybe we're gonna put CO2 in it, okay, why? Because we might have some additional CO2 coming out. How is it gonna get there? Are you gonna truck it or are you gonna pipe it? Well, we're gonna pipe it. Where are you piping it from? Somewhere close. Okay, now we're getting to the point of what are you doing? So they just didn't lay the whole thing out.
Yeah.
Lou did an excellent job getting in their face too, by the way, but. But the conclusion was that yes, somewhere near the Nexus pipeline, more than likely, if your geological formation will be able to hold the CO2, then this has only happened 6 or 7 times in the country right now. They used to use it, or they still do, use the system to push oil to a well. That was the original thought of the CO2. This is completely different. This is just to store it. But the question becomes how much to store, how long does that go, forever, for 10 years, 20 years? We don't have the answers on any of that yet.
Well, how do you know how much it is?
It's the pressure. I asked them, well, how do you know when it's enough's enough? It's when they build up pressure, and they push no more into it, that's when they stop putting it in.
Actually, it takes it one step further than that too. When they pressurize it and it starts dropping, they know they're cracking. They're cracking the foundation. And that's when they back it off and say, let's say they hit 2,000 PSF or PSI, and it starts cracking. Okay, so we're only allowed to go maybe 1,500 PSI, then you can push it in. And that's when we had that problem at Summerfield, when they were gonna do an injection well there too, we presented all this in front of DEQ as well as Lansing. And the conclusion was you gotta be careful doing that anywhere, because it can come eventually back up. It can potentially contaminate, not necessarily contaminate, but CO2 is heavier than air. So if it comes up, it's gonna sit there and just go across the countryside. Which then in fact takes away the oxygen in the air, blah, blah, blah. So worst case scenario, people could get hurt if that in fact happens. But of course, they're gonna say, it's environmentally nice, it's never gonna happen, don't worry about it. We're doing it in 5 other places in the world and fine, that's what you would do.
Do they
5
have?
places.
Sorry.
Yep, 5 places.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah.
Do they have blasting going on in these 5 or 6 places? Like it's going to happen over here? Because we do have blasting, what, every Wednesday at noon or something?
That's the quarry that you're talking about, right?
Right, but wouldn't that be
The
shaken?
shockwave underneath.
Our basement's tore
Quarry's
from
right
it.
there. Yeah, that's a real possibility, yes. And that has to be a consideration when this thing starts coming to light here a little bit too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a big thing.
That's a pretty big thing, yeah. So I did talk to a guy that knew what they were gonna do and how they're gonna put it in. We start out with a 24-inch casing, steel casing, 24 inches in diameter. And they're gonna drive that 8 feet down. But it's gonna be pounded down. Great. So that, that in itself is a concern. You know, that's not a small case. 24 inches, probably 1.5 inches steel or something. And you're pounding that down 8 feet. So, you know, I didn't quite care for that. But then after the 80 feet, then they put a 300. They go down another 300 feet with 18 and 5/8 inch case. He didn't know if they were going to drive that one or drill. Then they could put in the 13 and 3/8 inch casing with 700 feet. And then 1,700 feet with a 9 and 5/8 inch casing. So it's casing inside as it goes down. And we fill it with grout, you know, casings to supposedly, you know, keep any kind of issue with contamination or hitting an aquifer, redraining an aquifer. But most of the wells in this area that are good are less than 100 feet. Over 100 feet mark, more likely you're in sulfur. So they're gonna drive this thing down 8 feet. I don't care for what they're doing. I don't care about it. They had the DEQ there, DNR. Oh yeah, we'll be watching.
Keep
You have to be careful too. I think you question. I think you'll get an H2S pocket sulfur. That's not only hazardous, it's also fun. Yeah. More than 20 parts per million on sulfur is dangerous.
So who's actually there to monitor this? As they're putting the pipes down, who's there monitoring? I mean, make sure.
Theoretically,
no one?
Eagle. I don't know if they're gonna have somebody standing there watching the whole time. They're the ones that are permitting it, they're the ones responsible for it. The big question, are they gonna be there all the time? I don't know. That's why I think our ordinance is gonna help them. I think we can have somebody there full time. Someone watching, because they're short staffed, every department we've dealt with.
So my next question is, if they don't need to have approval from the township to do this, then what's the point of the ordinance if they already have a permit?
Well, it comes down to the CO2 ordinance, not a
geological well ordinance, but, our ordinance will kick in only when they're starting to do something more than just exploratory. Just the same reason like if somebody wants to put a water bill in right now, township doesn't require it. So it's the same mentality. If they say it's completely exploratory, we can't call them liars. That's not our intent. Then we find out that the formation does or is consistent with what they're looking for in order to capture this. That's when the ordinance will kick in. So to, we have to be watching from now on.
Why couldn't we have an ordinance that they apply for a research test well? Why, there's some reason we can't do that?
No, there's still no, we can think that's the way. No, we can actually include that in there.
That's one of my things that I heard, include that in the. I like this ordinance, by the way, this is nice, I just wanted to go over it, maybe add some stuff to it to help bring in some money to help pay for all this stuff.
Yeah, we can actually add that to the ordinance. And just so as a sidebar too, 20,000 that we put in there. Just so you know what the logic is. Number one, there's a they use that same number too. If you go higher than that, they're gonna contest that you don't have a say in it. If we go lower than that, then we won't be able to really dictate and or try to inspect this like we'd like to. In other words, you don't want to be shy on the inspection side. So 20,000 seems to be the magic number for that. We could add more, but more than likely an report. And since this is an environmental thing, we have you're getting rid of a coal burner, so that means you're saving the earth.
Talk about that.
I have a question on the first page. The second paragraph under section 2. It goes class 1, class 2, class 3, and class 5. What about class 4?
Actually, this is a class 6. Just so you know, this is a class 6. State of Michigan doesn't have a class 6. So the state of Michigan then rolls it into the class 5, which is oil and gas, natural gas.
I think 4 is because they don't do it anymore, it's the one that was,
State of Michigan only does it class 5.
Yes. And this is considered a class 6 because of the what they're doing with CO2. Oh, that's where you're at. Class 4 is where you're at. So we really don't want those.
Okay, so now I'm really confused. If this is a class 6 and the state of Michigan only goes up to class 5,
They're working on a bill right now. They are.
that's what they're working at.
Yeah, in order to slide this in, because right now they're considering under a class 5, which their logic isn't correct, because it's not oil and gas. But they have to put it somewhere, so they said, I just put it in 5.
Was that the bill 1131? 33 that was introduced in December?
Oh, no, they don't know.
I have that written down.
Yeah, that's the one that I printed, but I don't know about if that was class 5. That's
I don't know the status on it up there either. I don't know if this is a complicated or if they're trying to push it through. So I think there'd be additional information actually. Because we want to make sure when we put this ordinance together, it's rock solid. We don't want to come up with, oh, by the way, they passed the bill before we passed this ordinance.
so where were we going to add what Pat mentioned about
Or trade road, wells.
and back?
Well, we can say, we actually call the ordinance.
Put it right in your intent.
CO2 and exploratory wells.
Yeah.
Your intent purpose.
Probably define it that when I talk about water wells. rates on there.
Section 8 there, setbacks and hand mitigation. You got something like that? Oh,
Setback from mitigation, yeah, 1 mile from the school boundaries,
yeah.
25 from the hospital, 125 from public parks.
Is there any, you know, is those minimum or maximums that we can do, or I was just questioning those where they came from and
Those are absolute minimums.
minimums?
That says it right in the first sentence.
Okay.
You have that in your first sentence, or is it minimum?
Yep, minimum setbacks is, yep, are those, what do you think about those? We talked about that, we all thought that maybe they should be,
All 1 mile?
well, maybe, I don't know about the mile from school and stuff, but the half mile, quarter mile and all that should be double in my opinion. I want it further away, especially now that it's not gonna be a well, it's gonna be something else eventually,
Right.
so.
Yeah, we gotta be careful if they can put, let's say if they put well in, and let's just say they do an exploratory well. And they find out, hey, this really works, they might wanna convert it over, but it may not then apply to the ordinance, because if we say an exploratory well can be a quarter mile, or the CO2 well has to be a mile, then they can't use that. Just want to try to keep consistency there. So the well and CO2 has to apply to it, so let's go back to the, talking about it, the setbacks, do you want the setbacks greater than that?
I would say yes.
Yeah, that's doable, there's no question about that. Those are the ones that we found with during the research, from other ordinances, as well as, some of the paperwork that, some of the theses that we read about who's doing what out there. The sidebar, and people watch TV once in a while here, the FBI, Most Wanted, last year had one of their series, of course, they're all fictitious, of, this exact situation, where they're using CO2 and they're injecting it in the ground, and you got away and got near a park, and everybody started choking, and they had to call ambulances and people.
I seen that.
Yeah, so it happened to be CO2, and at the time when you're watching it like last year, it's like, oh, that doesn't happen, so what, right? Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about here right now.
Yeah.
TV comes to life here.
Mhm.
So what are these setbacks, what are we gonna change them to?
It's for him to figure out.
I think one of the biggest ones,
Well, I mean, I'd say double them except for the mile one, that's my opinion. Everything should be double except for the mile.
the biggest one is the, to water supply.
Yeah, they're all,
That's, I think, the one that's really concerning.
yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, and I actually, I think a public park and recreation facility, we should go to line as well. As well as hospital. I mean, why is the school more important than the hospital?
Yeah,
So,
okay.
And hospital wells are better than the nutrition. That's why it doesn't.
I would definitely want it more than 1,000 feet from my water, from my
Yeah.
private water supply.
the CO2 really won't contaminate your water. But what it more than likely will do is push up things that you don't want in your water, whether it's brine, whether it's hydrogen sulfide. CO2 in itself is like
It's in there.
Coca-Cola. I mean, you put CO in there and CO2 in there and you get your physics. So, the point being is that we want to keep it away because we don't want anything pushed into your well. So, so I agree with your logic, you want to do more than 1,000 feet away, but don't worry about it contaminating because of the CO2. You're more concerned about what's underneath you that's gonna be cramped in there.
Or hitting the aquifer,
What's that?
or hitting the aquifer and not
Yeah.
having any water. I mean, that would be a concern.
Yeah, I could drain it. Possibly. And they will go through your aquifer. I mean, they're talking about, they have to.
get down that
To
deep.
go that deep, they're gonna hit some.
So is it safe to say that we get a mile from the school, a mile from the hospital, nursing home, emergency helping, a mile from a public park or recreation facility?
There just has to be either like within reason, so you can argue why you think this is insufficient.
We do, we can do a half mile then to, existing public or private water supply.
Half mile,
Yeah, half mile.
okay,
400 feet from property boundary containing class 4 wellhead or class 6 wellhead. Again, we don't have a class 6. I don't want that. So it's a class 5, it's a class 6 designated under class 5 by the state of Michigan. We put that in there, just so there's clarification on that.
okay.
And who knows, by the time this is all said and done, they might pass it as a bill, we don't know. You understand what I'm saying? Recognized as a class 5 in the state of Michigan.
Then we're at 1,000 feet on the water body, surface water body, or,
Quarter mile, let's change that to a quarter mile.
okay. The 250 feet from any surface water body is at 250 feet, we change it to a quarter mile.
What are we gonna do on the well, private well water?
Maybe half mile on that one.
If you think that's reasonable.
That's 2,608 feet.
I mean, they're drilling down 4,500 feet, so that's kind of how I justify it.
I kind of look like you're going 4,000 feet
Yeah.
on this way, then you should have a 45-degree angle out, whatever that is, that's the answer, huh?
That, I mean, there's kind of like some logic to it anyway.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be around here.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna experience something down here, you're just gonna go up and angle like this to expose, so we're gonna calculate that out, to be sure we can justify that. Okay.
So on section 7 on the fees, we're gonna keep both of those numbers at 20,000.
Well, yeah, actually, I thought, I wanted to double it. But she found some information with regards to a case study on it, that 20,000 seemed to fly. And anything after that was a problem. I actually went to court, didn't it?
And it's 20,000 every year.
20,000, I think it's 20,000 every year. And
Okay.
it's
That's
two,
enough to hire an environmental engineer to oversee all this on our behalf?
realistically, you're not gonna be there 24/7. I mean, every day of the week, yeah. But it does seem lean. And how we initially had it wrote, and I hope it's looking that way, it's a review fee of 20 grand, and then you have a inspection of 20 grand. So the first year is gonna be 40 grand. But you make a good point. For 20 grand, what are you gonna get? You're gonna get somebody out there a third of the time. Okay? 25% of the time. Just checking that, making sure everything's the same way it's supposed to be. Okay. Well, we wanna be able to have Milan Township have that money in the bank for the next year, because we don't want to, like you're saying, like an hourly rate and give them a bill and may or may not show up. Then we have no hammer. Okay, that's what you're saying. What Pina's saying is that maybe we should figure the hourly rate and environmental engineer, realistic 200, maybe 210. 8-hour day, figure how many days of project we're gonna need them out there, and then we can figure it out.
We get a clause just saying township was a threat to hire.
Yeah, we could say, how about this? 20, that's a great point too, 20,000 minimum. Okay, so there's no surprises, and then the township does reserve the right to have their engineer at any time they wish. To come out and an hourly rate, so much, yeah, so much an hour. That sounds good. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Yeah, professional, that's what that means. Might be a professional geologist this time.
Yeah.
So you could say the 20,000 by so many hours or something.
At a minimum, yeah.
After so many hours, then it's gonna kick into additional. Whatever you
And they, yeah, they may be fair enough, that person's not necessarily be out there. We don't wanna have them get the ability to dictate what we think is correct.
It's just like an open account where like, use all the 20,000 1 year, can be applied to the next year. Like if you
No, we're
have a
gonna do it later, can't use all that money.
Okay, that's why
I mean, that's the direction I was going,
Okay.
because we have the opportunity, and we wanna be able to watch it. So, and we're directly proportional to the next board member, or board that comes through that gets elected, and, who knows? Next 3 or 4 cycles, someone might say, we really like it, why are we beating them up on 20,000?
And this just says a fee of 20,000, so.
He's 20,000
Yeah.
bucks, and plus,
no refundable. I mean, that's
Not
every year, 20 grand.
we should put that in, that's the price.
Base fee. Your base fee is not refundable. But then the other one, it does say it's a fee, so.
Base fee 20,000 plus.
Plus.
That's sort of,
Yeah,
what the township would try to be necessary inspections.
plus. I like the, above this in your section 6.
Section 6.
Section 6, it's 2 paragraphs above the fee there. It says the applicant must also submit a draft economic benefit agreement or community development agreement. This, the paying for water lines or some variation of portion of water lines.
Well, we got it in there to be, include provisions such as annual community compensation, infrastructure investment, which they have, or environmental offset measures when necessary to buy the township.
So I mean, that sounds very vague, I'm assuming that's an intention, so, I mean, we could have buy 50 acres and make us a park, we could offset water infrastructure.
Water and sewer, you can make a park community, you can do whatever with that money. What you think is necessary. To compensate for, I don't know, Justin sitting next to a plant that's making noise 24/7. So,
The whole, when I went through this, the whole thing to me was kind of vague. But I figured for a reason, because you say that, even to get it approved, it's pretty much open to the board. It's, there's no, you do A, B, and C and it's approved, it's approval by the board. There's no stipulations of 1, 2, 3, win.
right, like the site plan.
Yeah.
If you get a site plan, you do everything.
You do everything.
You don't have a right, you have to say it's
Okay,
okay.
this one is.
This is vague enough, I believe, but it'll be beaten up by our attorney, there's no question about it.
But that's the point of this, so the board can say, okay, put it in, you gotta cover 75% cost to put water in our township or whatever it is.
Ann Smith is worried about her water now
Yeah.
because something's different, so I want, you need to run water for that.
And then I also put it on your bond and stuff. Where you talk about the bond, we can go back to that page, but I also put that in the bond. They should put up a bond to cover the wells, if these wells start going dry or hit sulfur in my good well.
You know where that in Martin Township, when they decided to reopen the quarry over there? And, in the agreement, we wrote in there and approved it. Was all the wells within 1 mile radius has to be checked on a yearly basis, to see if there's any difference in elevation, quality, quantity. Could be anything from nitrate, sulfur, and so they get tested every year on their dime to make sure that their blasting does not affect any wells. So, and that's the kind of direction we want to go with this as well. Keep in mind, we know the wells go up and down depending on the drought or rainy season. We're not gonna pick on that so much, but the quality and quantity is gonna be important.
Yeah, if they hit something and contaminate an aquifer and all of a sudden, see the mile might be too short. Because if they hit an aquifer and contaminate the other side of the township here, well, it's can't make it worthwhile.
water. Depending on where that place is, the water hydrology pretty much in Monroe County. Generally, goes from the northwest to the southeast. And he's trying to work his way underground to Lake Erie. Okay. Section 10, we actually talked about that.
I got section 8, the last thing on there is 150 feet from underground pipeline or utility corridor. I haven't said anything about that, but is that something we need to look at? Is that standard or?
150 feet from underground pipeline.
How would we? I'm just thinking if we, let's say hypothetically that they put this well in. They say, sure, we'll give you water and sewer, and then put water and sewer in the road. That has to be 180 feet away from the road. It's not, we have a problem.
Okay.
So we should actually probably increase that, particularly because if there is a ground shift, we don't know. Take a look at fracking, that does cause earthquakes, it's all been understood. This is kind of fracking in some respects. Except that they're adding, they're not taking out.
You know, Susan, here unless a waiver is granted, so that's why, you know, I just, if we can make it higher and always give them a waiver, but.
We can go, what, 1,000 feet on that then?
Yeah. That is-
From 150 to 1,000.
Have to away from utilities,
But we can grant them a waiver, but, you know,
and we can grab them away from,
yeah.
particularly gas line. I mean, what happens if something happens there and there's a gas line in the road? Natural gas line. It also says here about later, township may impose a greater setback. Density development, environmental sensitive, local law, constitutional protection. So it's giving the door wide open, that you can do a waiver, if it's too much, and if you don't think it's enough, you can add on.
So what state did this come from?
This one is partially from Indiana, and partially from Texas. But we were trying to find something in the Midwest, that's why we did.
Does Indiana have one? Just one?
This is what it is. And we're making
One well?
one.
How would it say?
Not real. We know they're all recent, yeah, but we don't know. Yeah, this one was tested to try to for it. And it passed the muster, so.
So is it true that if the test well passes, they can come back and use that well?
That's probably the direction they're gonna go. They won't spend all that money to go 2,000 feet down, and say, hey, that's great, that worked, let's move over 20 feet.
So then do they have to have a permit to come back?
We use it for something else, really. But right now, they're just having a geological exploratory well.
They put plugs in. Remember? So they put plugs so that they can come back, and if they want to reapply, they can, and they can use that same one.
But they said that if we didn't want that, that they would.
I heard that too.
We offer that.
So your environmental and impairment liability coverage must be maintained throughout the life of the project. But it doesn't say that's 10 million. It doesn't have to be minimum coverage for general liability, it's 10 million. So how much is the environmental impairment liability?
Read that.
Section nine, sure,
Section 9. You know, how much environmental impairment liability coverage must be maintained? 10 million, like the other? Or
I'm not sure an agent would touch this one. I think besides what it's done.
yeah,
I'm not quite sure who you call to see what kind of numbers, because The situation, I don't like Bill Devs, you know, Bill Devs from the added oil, but they probably had check money with that cost.
Yeah.
Right, so. I'm sure we can come up with a number that, that's fine.
We could put a bond, we'd have to put a bond up for that.
You'll see that there in the paragraph down below, it says. Provide an amount sufficient to cover full cost of abandonment, removal, that's the removal.
Restoration.
But it doesn't, and I think we're probably getting into that more and more, in fact, they do bring a facility in. And there's gonna be bigger problems.
Oh, that's a lot, yeah.
I mean, now we're talking about bigger numbers too. And that would probably be encompassed within as well, it's gonna say, hey, we're consulting, a package deal for X amount of dollars for. But I don't have an answer for you, I don't, 10 million is a good number, 20 million, 5 million.
Well, maybe we can put it determined by.
That game, I don't know if you want.
Well, because it doesn't have any number to it, but, either a number or we don't know.
I mean, we'll say that we call it TA, but again, this is uncharted territory for the state of Michigan, so I don't think it's. So whatever we answer here in Milan Township is going to be the answer for other townships. That are going through this. No, we could just call it this Indiana. It's the other end of it. They wanted it as much as you guys, obviously. And in fact, that's what we'll do. I'll just call city manager that way. See how they're handling the bond, how they're handling the insurance. There's a, one loose topic is this is very fluid. You know, they've changed even more rules from months ago. Not necessarily when we're talking about the state, but. And if the state is pro this, then we're gonna. Go there.
And then the next item is operators shall be required to conduct regular testing, but we don't tell them what to test for. We want to do like a state of Michigan, water quality. Or, you know, a residential water quality number. Like when you're doing soil, doing soil, cleanup, you have testing for clean soil is, you know, every single constituent listed. So
We're defining that monitoring shall include the testing of the residential wells for indicators of contamination or changes in the water chemistry. So, there's a very long list that Eagle does have for water quality testing.
yeah,
That, we can.
put in here,
We can
or
put in there.
for the states.
Yeah, whatever, for state water quality standards,
Yeah.
yeah, we do have that list.
On that same section in the paragraph where it says operators shall be required to conduct regular testing, do we have any timing thing that should be in there?
That's a good point, we need to put numbers in there, we can't just say regular, because regular, it might be every 5 years.
Timing.
First line,
Right on
section.
Right here.
section 10.
Oh,
You read it?
I had a question mark too.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that's-
Oh, okay.
the second set paragraph, we have quarterly, but maybe even that's not enough. That's like, yeah, you know what, that'd be, you wanna be able to catch every season. Something might be different fall than it would be in spring.
But in the second paragraph under 10, middle, annual independent inspection shall be performed by third parties as determined by the township. In my notes from the last meeting, I think maybe this is what you were just referring to, Dave. Instead of annual independent inspections, it would be quarterly.
Well, we want quarterly reports detailing the injection volumes and everything else, but maybe we should have that annual independent inspection maybe quarterly. Is that what you're going with on that?
Yeah, I mean, that was,
Okay.
we actually suggested monthly at the last meeting, but I don't know if that's too much, it's gonna give some trouble with this ordinance.
Don't have the answer for you that, I don't know, monthly by week is way too redundant, because there's nothing happens, say between July and August.
It's,
You know,
I put quarterly on mine too, so.
So then back to the first sentence on, under section 10, are we changing regular to quarterly also?
Yes.
Then are we including in this ordinance the statewide quality standards?
Yes. And you know what, we'll attach them, because those periodically change as well too. 10 years ago, they didn't even know what our
Yeah.
was, now it's a major requirement to make sure you have zero.
Well, look at PFAS.
PFAS, yeah.
Nobody knew what that
The forever chemicals. We also got, lead, there was no big deal, they had 15 parts per billion, now it's 5, and it'll be 0 within the next 5 years, so. Oh, good idea, we're gonna put the current version, we'll put the current existing bills, and we don't have to change it all the time.
Oh, the current,
Well, just keep on
quality
saying current
standards.
versions. Yeah, water quality standards, they do change them. We had a situation in Western Township where they had that stable for the speedway. And we also know that quite a bit of those wells have E. coli in because it's a karst formation. It's kind of a well-known dirty little secret. When that happened, and this is what I'm concerned about here too, is that when they were willing, Speedway, pilot, whatever you call them, they were willing to go house to house, check your well, make sure you don't have any hydrocarbons in it, and gas and diesel. A lot of people refuse. They don't want to know the answer. Because as soon as you let the world know, whether it's a health department or Eagle, that you have E. coli in your water, what's plan B? Or if you have anything in your water, what's plan B? I'm concerned about this too as well, that we'll be asking people, hey, you want to check your water once in a while. I want to make sure there's nothing hiding out there before we start. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some people might not even want the water tested. Yeah. State law just so you know, if you find E. coli in the water, you have to redraw a well. And with 3 wells, and still have E. coli in the property. That's the North Dakota state law. So that's why, shouldn't say this out loud, but what happens, they drill a well, it doesn't work. So they say, well, once you come down back, they might add some dirt in it from everything else. Beach, just go around 24 hours, come back, hey, no E. coli, I guess we're good.
Would they not be allowed to go, like many people around here, like, I don't use well water. I mean, I trailer my water and.
Oh, your sister, you have a sister?
Yeah,
That'd be not an issue then.
okay, so it probably wouldn't necessarily be condemned.
No, it wouldn't be.
You wouldn't be able to use.
Won't be used
on-site
well,
water.
right, and they've really laxed up on that quite a bit too, they're allowing cisterns in quite a few areas, more and more. But prior to that, pretty much the northern part of Milan Township, parts of Exeter, parts of London, and some parts of Summerfield, we don't always have allowed to have cisterns.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was just forbidden.
On 12, your emergency plan. Emergency response plan must include coordination with local first responders, detailing mapping hazards and blast zones. What's the blast zone for? Is that not their blast zone? I mean, is this for
Well,
other
technically
blast
it is, I
zones?
just wanna make sure they're not blasting.
Well, they're not gonna be doing any
Well, they should be
blasting.
drilling. But,
If
Mike,
they're
you make a
driving,
good point, how close are they gonna be to the blast zone for, aggregate materials over here?
yeah, so that's why I said what blast zone. I didn't know if when you were pounding the well and, you know, the bigger one, 24 inch.
That's a big drill,
That's a big-
24 inch.
And they're driving that. So, I didn't know if there was some blasting during the driving, that's why I kind of questioned. Sure. This would,
It's gonna be loud.
It's gonna be very loud.
How much does it take?
Put that 24-inch in. Well, if they got clay printer on it, I don't know what the stratospheres are here, or if it's the stratus. But if it's gonna be a rock and it's right at that 24-inch. But I don't know if they're gonna hit it and rotate. He said, the guy I talked to said, they hit rock and they can't, they can't hit with them. So. What made me think about this too is that we should put hours on it. I don't think we have hours on this. And the reason for that is they can stick one of those diesel fire drivers on top of that thing and it can run 24/7 all day, out for weeks.
ooh. Yeah, hours of operation.
Right. 105,
Yeah,
try to buy it one here.
The 8 to 5 is for the drilling operation,
What's that?
for the drilling operation, 8 to 5.
Yeah. They won't like that, but
Drilling. They don't call it dryer.
So can we go back to the very beginning? Did we add to the title of this ordinance exploratory wells?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm just kind of going back to the beginning because I went to the end. Under section 4, this ordinance shall apply to any carbon sequestration project proposed within the Milan Township. Should we add exploratory well there?
not only carbon sequestration project, but also temporary exploratory wells. There was some wildcat going on in the 2000s, wildcat. I think there's oil down there, but you're not sure. And shell oil as well as, marathon going around asking people to, give them some leases on their property. That was, I know it was going around at night at Summerfield, I don't know if you up here. They're doing some wildcat here and there.
Yeah.
Those are the ones you see in the middle of the night that, the timers are up and that's all that.
They had one over 5 years.
And they didn't find anything, but, this is probably gonna fall into that category too. Now, this ordinance will probably take care of that too as well. We don't care that they're wild, that's between the homeowner and the particular situation. If that's monitored and or regulated by, plants. Well, because don't be surprised if we get a letter from Nancy saying we can't do this.
We can't do this.
That's,
We can't have
that's their job.
ordinance.
That's right, that's their job, not yours. So, we wanna make sure this is iron as possible, make sure the attorney takes all the holes out of it. In this big beautiful metal thing, did Trump just take away this power for wind and, solar energy to come in place where they want to? Did he just take that away, or did he negotiate that in the bill? I don't know that.
I think the incentives he took away.
The incentives, that's correct.
Yeah.
Okay, I heard something the other day on the news. Yeah, there was something he was taking away.
He's cut back the money.
He took all the grants away. The grants away.
Grants for large scale or for like homeowner solar and
Large
EV
scale.
credits?
Large scale.
Large scale.
And then those that were already started, he put an end date on there.
27.
I know it's backing down the residential solar credits too. That
did, I have to look at it now, but he did do that on, ones that are already in progress. He put something in it to curb it. This is all you're gonna get. You couldn't take away what they already got. We tried that.
What if they're gonna find a better way of doing the pole burners? But we got enough coal the last 200 years. I wonder if they're gonna force them to make pole burners better, and this whole discussion we're having right now might be moved.
Supposedly Monroe is top notch. And they were supposed to get rid of Campbell. And they put that on an emergency for 90 days or something. And because they were gonna shut Monroe down. And now they're thinking that maybe they're gonna go ahead with Campbell, but keep Monroe. So this makes sense that they're pushing all this carbon onto our area. To me, it makes sense.
When they said they have to shut it down, they have to shut, as of right now, they're required to shut Monroe down.
In 32 or
Yeah,
something,
whatever that is. And that's why they're going in this direction right now.
yeah. But I just seen that on Bridge, that they were going back and forth with Campbell because they had an emergency and it wasn't blah, blah, blah. So they're.
And Trump did put a 90-day stop on that shutdown. He put a 90-day restraining order or whatever, stop.
It was an emergency.
In lieu of shutdown.
You could find out that, I don't know, when you read.
He wants to keep them if he can, because he wants to keep working in the coal mines. Puts a lot of people out of work. Power plants versus the coal-fired power plant. Coal-fired power plant size will have 9,000 employees. Put in the new plant, 20, 30 times this capacity. Plus,
Yeah,
they
it's
have
actually
200,
right.
they have 200 employees.
Right, 200 to 3,000.
Is there anything else in that plan?
I'm good. That's everything I wanted to ask.
The bond on this, on abandoned and decommissioning, I just, are we gonna put it somehow that we will set that based on something?
Or call Indiana and see how they handle theirs, okay? We made it up for the call them tomorrow and have a lot about other entities decommissioning. And that's probably one of the bigger deals, whether it's solar panels, whether it's this. When they get their money, they walk away, and we want to make sure that they pay.
So would this be the case, this could be the case also like solar, that they sell it, they sell it to another person, and then a possibility of them going bankrupt, and who gets stuck with everything?
I think we should put it in here, must not allowed to be, change in ownership.
Just like we did with Cory.
No change in ownership.
You do have that?
Yeah, that's section.
It's on 14.
Section 14. Apply.
If this comes to fruition to it, ever had to get it, but it's, we can start a new company. Yeah, when I was gonna say solar, but actually, you started this in natural gas, because again, 5 people in the office, but that didn't work, shut it down. You wanna make sure the parent company is tight.
Then you're fined $2,500 a day. I mean, pull that, must be what they had at the Indiana one or the other.
Every time we put a number here, we had a discussion in the office, how we justify this.
Yeah.
Because that's what the judge is gonna say if this comes to fruition.
Because we can't make money.
Right.
We're not here to make money.
You
We're
can't
here to
collect
provide a
money.
service, so.
And if the infraction is severe enough, $2,500 is a whole lot.
No, it's not. But you could have, the infraction could be the cost to mitigate it.
It's a cost of $2,500 for the attorney to jump in there and take care of.
Yeah, whatever the
When you
cost
have
of
to buy
mitigate.
or whatever we have available to us to make sure that this is resolved. This whole ordinance is really a what if. Yeah, what if it goes wrong. Everything goes goes straight,
Sounds like it's already going down the track. Yes.
Yes.
I did talk to the QP. They got an application. That's where it
Yeah,
sits.
they haven't approved it, they just got an
Correct.
application.
It just received it like a week or 2 weeks ago. They received it. But rumor has it they ordered 60,000 gallons of water on it from stores. They ordered 60,000 gallons of water.
I asked him, where are you gonna get your water to drill this exploratory well? And he kind of stumbled in, well, we'll probably have to drill our own well to get the water. That's what he told me, and then Mark said that they found someone, they'd ordered 60,000 gallons of water.
That's the rumor out there.
Where are they gonna put this water?
Tanks on that frac.
Okay, but they're, I mean,
When you drive it, yeah.
Which has 60,000 gallons going.
Right.
When they drive it, they put it, if you're seeing drill
It's
the
gonna go
well,
down.
they pump it down right in the well as they're, and when they're drilling it, they keep everything.
the drilling, like, residual drilling, like, I don't know if the ordinance should address that or
A lot
not.
of it.
When we put permits together with Eagle on, people that are doing, horizontal drilling, like near wetlands, we are required to say how much mud they're gonna have residual. Because no matter what, you're drilling a hole, you're gonna have mud left off, something, you're taking dirt out of the ground. And adding water to it, you're gonna have a whole lot of mud. So how are they handling the mud, where's the mud going, how is this gonna work, you know? So. That would have to be in their plan, their environmental plan that we asked for as part of the ordinance.
So this year, we would have to still, beyond this, we'd have to have some type of an application process.
Yes.
That is on top of this, because this is says approved by the board, so the board would have to have an application process. We can get.
So we could probably start
See
working
what's
on
out there.
putting an application together too, what we're expecting the application.
Yeah, see what Indiana is. If they,
They have Warren County that's helping them too, Monroe County isn't exactly.
they're pretty like too.
Warren County, Indiana. I mean, we saw, and again, I think it's just not enough people and they're overworked, like the road commission with these tables going in, they're just going.
Okay, you'll make the change.
We'll make the corrections, make the changes, make the phone calls, get back to you probably within. Probably the end of the week or first part of next week. Go through. And then, you know, get it to, want to get it to Pat, you can distribute that.
Sure.
Faster we can move on this and get it to the board. I will talk to Mark tomorrow too about making sure that your township attorney is prepared to actually move on this and not sit on it for a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. I could tell the board. Get something. I'll make sure if we're good with this, we'll make sure the board puts it on, right? We have to have a special. On the track, this thing. Get something soon.
Yeah, we gotta expedite this.
If we don't get something soon, they're gonna be out there growing.
And, we have to have public notice for this ordinance. Oh, that's, we can check on that. So you have to have a public hearing.
Just have a special meeting, review this. We could approve this, then, well, I have to have a special meeting first.
We have to have a public hearing on the particular ordinance, yes or no. Some words you don't, some you do, I know this one.
We probably won't have much participation.
Anything good?
Yeah.
Unfinished business, fiber optic. Anybody know what's going on with that? Have any questions? But I haven't heard a word. Hey, you heard?
No, I haven't, no, I talked to Mark about it several times. I think everybody knows the decision I have. I have no problem with fiber optic going in, but it better go in exactly where it says on their permit, which says it's supposed to be, you have a 33-foot right of way, which most of you do have here. It has to be in a 32-foot line, so it has to be 1 foot off the right of way. But the state of Michigan also said, you can put your fiber optics in, and you don't have to do a survey, just put it in where you think it belongs. So with that said, their drawings are absolutely perfect. In other words, there it is at 32 feet. But I've caught them more than not going on private property with it, going way out of that line. Why is that important? For one thing, if it's in your private property, obviously they're approaching into your property and trespass. If they're into the right of way, say at 20 feet instead of 25 feet, well, that's a corridor for a new water line or a new sewer line. As soon as you hit that, and I've had this happen, well, we were here first, so fiber optic wins, or you break it, oh, somebody owes me 10 grand, you just broke it. Well, you're in the wrong place. Well, no one's told us when it was installed, so therefore we don't care. I've talked to the road commission about this extensively, of what we are required to do as engineers in Ohio, and we have a very long, comprehensive list of what's there, where it belongs, and we have to stake the right of way. You don't have to do that here in Michigan. They do have to do it in Ohio. And I've talked to the road commission about this, and they go, we just don't have the people. We can't, there's like one permit alone was 85 miles that they wanted to put in Bedford and Whiteford. How are we going to inspect 85 miles when they're going 2,000 feet a day, 3,000 feet a day? They can't do it. And I talked to the Whiteford supervisor just this morning about it. I said, you gotta get somebody out there. If you don't want, we're not out there checking, you've got to be out there. Somebody's got to be checking. Again, I don't want it going on private property. I don't want it going outside of their corridor. And it's, and they don't care because they have to get this all done by 2026. They're getting all the free money from the, whatever that thing was passed that's supposed to stop inflation, that rule or that fund that passed. So that's where fiber optic is right now. And Mark and I have talked extensively about it. He even had a problem with a roll of it sitting on somebody's yard, and nobody would take credit for it or blame, however you want to look at it. So.
Okay, on the cell tower ordinance, I sent you an email regarding that double, the Comcast for another township in there.
That's not the only thing that I see in your ordinance that's really a problem. And I don't understand why, at the time that was written, why we have to have certain rules for the township and certain rules for the public that want a cell tower on their property. I think township should have the same requirements. And for some reason, that was, obviously it was brought in from another township and just thrown into yours inadvertently. But it brings out the attention that the township can kind of do what they want if somebody wants to call a cell tower. But you don't require your public that want to do that either. So I think we should be on the same page, and obviously that's my opinion, but you guys can make an opinion on that. We can actually get rid of that portion of it or just modify it slightly. Everything else makes sense. As you saw with my comment letter from the one that we sent last that we just had, I had to literally go right to that ordinance, and then I ignored the part about the township and Comstock. So
then there's also like some items in here that are not on the same page. It says they're going to be in AG1, AG2, I1, and I2, but then as you go further in, it contradicts that. I gotta find when I look at this thing, but I can find them. I got it marked up, but there's some, special use approval in those zones. Within this ordinance, it contradicts it. 2 or 3 spots.
yeah, I didn't get into that because I did see that it was allowed in ag.
Oh, right here, all zoning, towers and antennas, permitted use in all zoning. So here's another one, antenna structures and towers in all zoning classifications. So it just needs cleaning up on.
Sure.
What I
I
have,
think what you guys should do is just run a copy of it off, have the 5 minute discussion, get rid of this, add this, get rid of this. Just type it up and be done with it then.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right.
Yeah.
Like
Like I said, most of it's actually pretty good.
Go through it today.
I like the idea that you have this top of the tower, you have to have the area around that from being covered. A lot of townships say we don't care about the side yard setback, that's why you see some of them right next to the road. Because the engineers swear that if it falls down, it's gonna fall right on itself. I'm an engineer, we're not running for God, so
Supposedly are made to buckle.
supposedly made to buckle, that's right, the top end buckles and then the bottom after that buckles and theoretically goes back and forth, right?
I don't know how they do that.
So then did they address all the issues that you had?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No, I'm waiting for, I'm ready for another submittal. They, you had to be 50 feet beyond the size of the tower, if I recall, is what your ordinance says,
Yes.
which makes complete sense. And there was 210 feet and plus another 50, it was 260. So they had to be 260 feet away from any kind of road structure or anything like that. They were 90 feet away.
Oh.
So, we missed by a little bit.
Yeah, and I went and looked at a couple. The stuff you gotta put around them, the trees and stuff. I think we gotta get that on there. And they look worse with the trees around them than they do without, you know.
We
just
don't,
no big
nobody's
screen.
making them correct the problem. The
Yeah.
guy, hey, you gotta replace
They
it,
look
if not,
terrible.
we're gonna find you.
They just are scrubby,
They're nasty.
they're bad. Just put a big screen on the fence and,
You know, you can't hide it.
no, you can't hide
You
it.
put a couple of arborvitaes around it and say, oh, I didn't know there was a tower there. Yeah.
Now Toledo, Ohio, just south of Toledo, they tried to hide it.
I saw that.
The
Actually,
tree.
it looks pretty cool.
Don't they have one by Domino's Farms like that?
Yes.
Yeah,
they
they
have
have
a-
yeah.
And they have a palm tree in LA. If you ever go to LA, they look like palm trees out there. They actually sell some.
But they didn't do too good down in Toledo with that tree.
No, that's pretty obvious. Especially in the winter.
Yeah, it's like a fake Christmas tree.
But it's better than what we have,
It is.
all those dead trees and the grass, 3 feet.
Yeah,
But
I think
nobody
it's much
requires them
cleaner.
to keep it up, that's the
Yeah.
thing, there's no enforcement there. There should be a fine, hey, you know, you guys want $2,500 a week?
Call Doobie.
If it was clean around it with no trees and no big screen, you know, in the fence, it would look, to me, it would look much better.
Yeah.
Well, we can make that adjustment.
But yeah, we'll, I got.
I'm not a fan of going crazy on landscaping though, when it comes to something that you really can't hide.
No, I agree, that's.
We don't want it, in my opinion, we don't want it in residential areas too. Keep it in the agriculture as much as you can. Just because you've got this fall that you have to worry about, and as soon as you do that, then you dictate the people's property next door to you. I can't split a piece of property next to that because now it's gonna put that tower in violation, so who has the rights there?
Okay, on the wind ordinance, I have tons of paperwork about that thing, all wind ordinances around that I've collected. That's our least priority at the moment.
Wind turbine ordinance, right? You're not gonna throw it again. Ordinance wind.
Is that the same as one, you gave us a whole bunch of ordinances.
Yeah, I gave you guys a whole bunch too, but I've been collecting it all along, to go, when we decided to work on it, we got something to go by.
You know, the companies that put all those turbines together, with those, that type of thing, did a comprehensive study on the state of Michigan, where the wind is good and bad, and I don't believe that you guys are even in that category. So
That's what I know.
yeah, I don't think you're in there at all, like, they got a pretty good area in some area that's loaded there, and in certain areas that go towards the west, but that's right in there, so I don't know whether they want to spend a whole lot of money unless they get a grant, and that's fall to the wayside for you to do that, so I agree, it's not a high priority right now, we got some other ones that are not.
Yeah.
They got quite a few, between Hillsdale, Hudson. But closest here.
Okay, residential solar ordinance, Steph and I are working on that. Got one from Doobie and we're getting one from Maycon, so we were discussing that today, on getting that going and then bringing it forward, so.
Okay.
We are working on it.
Okay, also off your electrical inspector too, to see how that connection's gonna occur.
Okay.
And lithium battery storage in the house, that'd be kind of critical. You don't want lithium battery for your furnace, that kind of mentality. Doesn't know about any better.
What would be the process for somebody who wanted to do that right now without?
Doing it.
What's that?
They are doing it, there's people doing
Oh,
it,
yeah. I
but they're
know.
going by, some electrical code, building code, electrical.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're calling for that, there's,
They're coming up here and seeing him, and he knows about it.
okay.
I think the whole intent of getting an ordinance, so they don't go crazy, your front walls full of them, back walls full of them. A lot of them right now, is not putting them on the roof. I'll tell you, that was a scam for a while. There's people getting them, and they were guaranteeing that your Edison bill was gonna go to zero, and they barely trickled down, but yeah, you still owe 40 grand for that thing they just put on your house.
Yeah.
And we know people that have happened too.
Comments from the commissioner, anybody got any comments? You good?
I can't remember now.
Oh, well,
Yeah, don't.
you knew it, Matt, Dave, anybody?
I remember what Trump was doing now. The solar that was already underway, he was gonna push the button on panels not being made in the United States. And he was gonna use that to push tax or whatever, tariff on. So he was gonna put some guarantees on. But that's just the new side for the.
Okay, we get this underway.
The new FEOC foreign entity of concern rules will deny technology neutral tax credits to projects that use too much Chinese equipment. Taxpayers rely on China's equity or debt. That would make payments to China.
Okay.
You ran into a problem with that with USDA, because USDA passed a rule like that several years ago. The problem is a lot of the wastewater and water treatment plant stuff was made in Germany and Sweden because it's telemetry. And so they couldn't do the work. So everything kind of went to a standstill, so they had to change that around, with the exceptions in general. This is not the same because they make it here in Toledo as well as China.
So are we gonna work on the,
We're gonna work
the
on
ordinance?
the fiber optics.
no, the other ordinance, the cell tower ordinance?
Yes, we'll have to do that, we'll set it down, go over it, fix it then.
Today?
Give us a copy of it, we'll nitpick it.
It's in our,
Which one?
our book.
In our book.
Page 122,
Which 127?
cell tower,
Oh, yeah, cell tower, yes, I just went through it right here, cell tower.
yeah.
Right there, it's 13.14 telecommunication towers.
So we should look at that and come prepared to finalize it?
Yes.
Okay.
Or well, we'll have to adjust it and then finalize it.
Okay.
See how that dovetails into your special use requirements too. The special use is kind of fluid, nice way of putting it. And sometimes it really doesn't relate to a lot of things that you're in a special use, but you're asking for special use, which makes sense. Gives you a chance to take a second look at it, so. Just see it, just brief your special use and that into your telecommunications.
Feel all good?
So, wait a second. So do we want to see if who's available for a special meeting?
Let's get this done so we get it back. You gotta go take a look at it, you love it, send me a copy. Good. I'll give you time to talk to the other board members, Thursday. And you will have no expediting.
Is this still something we're
Are we, you're gonna pass it, the question is, what's gonna happen after that? If they continue trying to make that go work down, yeah, they're gonna do that. And they're looking for the least possible resistance, and you have the least amount of people here in township. It'd be a harder fight, say, in French now, because there are more people to bed for. You're just farmers. You don't have differences here.
So the state can still like override those, you're saying?
Say it again,
Can the state override this and say they don't have to follow it?
just like they did with the other stuff.
It's just because it's environmental.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's possible.
That's why you're able to say that you can't do it because of environmental issues, but because it doesn't go with the,
Safety of the community.
well, yeah, you can't really say you do it because.
Only or a master plan.
The other master plan, yeah.
Oh, Master Plan came up.
If we type the master plan, so we want.
You can't argue, you definitely can't argue about it. But that's what they're gonna argue. This is environmentally correct thing to do. Sam said, well, township's taking the bullet for the rest of the town.
Motion to adjourn. Favor? I didn't hear your name, I didn't know.